everybody, welcome to episode 3 of The Nerd, The Chef and The Hobby Lodge, and this is the Christmas special, so we're all together. The Nerd and The Chef are with me again as my co-hosts of the podcast, and we're going to be doing a bit of a Christmas look back at 2024, maybe even a cheeky look at 2025, but first of all I'm going to jump to my co-hosts and introduce and say hello. Nerdy Geezer, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'm glad to do this. Like, obviously, I didn't have a great week last week, but we won't go into that. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, feeling much better.
We are in the season of unwellness. Everyone's being unwell for various reasons.
Yeah,
But yeah, so you had a nasty spot of food poisoning, didn't you? So not great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about food poisoning and jump over to our chef in the.
It wasn't me that cooked his meal, I don't think. It wasn't me.
Come on, chef. You've given some food poisoning your time. Come on. In the early days when you used to clean your butter knife and stuff like that. Come on.
I don't work in Subway.
Well, there's rumours, mate. There's rumours. I know you call yourself a chef, but there are rumours.
Like my brother always calls me a burger flipper, even though it's been like 26 years, not 26 minutes of catering. I'm still a lowly prep chef to my brother, even though I'm like quite high in the pecking order where I work.
Of course, mate. Of course. How are you anyway?
I'm good, mate. I'm off now for Crimbo. Crimbo is the word that people get upset when I say Crimbo, but anyway, I'm off now for Crimbo.
Nice.
And just playing games, catching up on stuff, and spending good time with people I love, yourselves and others. So yes, very festive in the
Nice.
chef household.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's good to have I know not everyone is lucky enough to get a break over Christmas, but it's nice if you can get one. If you can get a couple of days off here and there, in and around the Christmas and make a bit of a holiday of it, it's always nice, isn't it? So, yes, I've got a few days left and then I'm off for about a week and a half, so it's quite
Nice.
Yes, yeah. Okay, great. Well, look, this episode is going to be about normally we cover a month in the hobbies that we have, but I thought it'd be nice, given it's a bit of a Christmas special, to look back at the year and sort of pick out, everyone loves a top 10, everyone loves a top 5. We're going to do a top 3 of our sort of various bits we're into, but I'm sure we can go into other things as well. Yeah, and then we'll, at the end, maybe talk about our plans and hopes for 2025, and that's the sort of format of the show. So maybe, Nerdy Geezer, maybe I'll come to you first. Like, what sort of one of your highlights of the year for you been?
So I suppose I'm going to pick game collecting in general because, as you guys know, I've had some really good or really lucky finds in charity shops this year. For example, I mean, I found a VR headset, a PS4 Pro, a PSP. The list goes on, and then there was some of the Master System games like Buggy Run and that, and yeah, just been extremely lucky. And so it's got to be probably my best year for collecting games. But also, I went away and then met up with ZX Tetley, and I then picked up my Holy Grail, which is the Vectrex, which I never thought I'd end up getting, which he did me a fantastic deal on. So I got that, and yeah, I still got to get a multi-cart for it. I still haven't got around to doing that yet, but I'm enjoying playing it. And of course, we had Revival as well this year. So we met up with quite a few other YouTubers and that, didn't we? And yeah, that was fun, especially getting the renting out a house and then everybody coming round on both days, and we all hung out, had a drink, had a good laugh. Food was eaten, games were played. I mean, I was sitting there playing Cadillac and Dinosaurs with a couple of guys. Yeah, it's just been a really good year, and I suppose it's highlighted more to me because obviously the year before and the year before that weren't too great from a health point of view. So this year was extremely good. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that in general because it's just been fun this year. It really has. So
Excellent. Yeah, I wish I had the same luck as you. Although I do get luck through. About to say I get lucky with you sometimes. That sounds probably something for a different type of podcast. But I don't get the same luck with the local charity shops because I sort of go past them every now and then. Yeah, they just aren't that great, as you've probably seen yourself, given that we are both fairly local. But yeah, I've had a few nice little bits out of them, but for me, they're just not that great anymore. But I'm guessing, it depends on where you are and who you're connected with, and people seem to have all sorts of luck online. Certainly, I see a lot of other YouTubers who spend a lot of time going around the charity shops and seem to always come away with something. So, yeah, I know, Chef, you seem to get out to the charity shops occasionally. Do you have much luck?
Yeah, I've been pretty good with the charity shops this year. Got some good bits, nothing crazy, but PS5 game for £5. Few odds and sods, nothing mad, but it's there. To me, there is still gold out there. I just think you need to be a little bit religious and make the effort. I know probably sounds like I'm preaching to people, but I do believe if you make the effort, you will come across stuff, because there's someone else doing it if you're not doing it, because there is stuff going into charity shops, as Lee knows, and as I know, there is stuff. I've collected some stuff over the years, some gold, and it's still out there. And we see other tubers collecting gold, just simply by saying, have you got anything else in the back? And then all of a sudden a crate comes out of stuff. So it is out there. You just gotta put the extra effort in, if that is the correct word to use, let's say.
Yeah, I'm always less bold. Like, I always feel like I'm intruding a little bit, so I would never say like, "Hey, have you got stuff out the back?" and things like that, because I always just that self-consciousness of being like, "Oh, they're probably busy, they're working hard, it's a charity." But you're absolutely right. It's not like ultimately you're making them money because you buy the stuff that's in the crate out the back. So that's a positive. But it does seem to be that the more you can build relationships with these charity shop owners, the more you're likely to benefit from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Like you said, also, Nerdy Geezer Lee, you said about the meetups and that revivals, good opportunities to collect games as well. Get to go and see the people that are stalling out at these places. But also just meeting up with everyone. It's been great, isn't it? It's always
that was
a good
the best
laugh.
part for me. Yeah, it was good fun. I mean, we so many people, I can't even think of them all, but we met up with some great people, didn't we? And it was a shame you weren't there, Chef. Really was. I think you really would have enjoyed yourself.
Was that June, wasn't it? Was it June time you went?
I'm struggling to remember. I think it must have
June?
been. Must have
it was
been around
June,
that
wasn't
time.
it?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I must admit now, working where I work now, is it's like forbidden to be taking time off during school time, because obviously I work in a private school. It's so awkward. But then come like now and come other holidays, I'm okay. But it's awkward compared to working other places where you could just get more time off. It's just one of them, really. But next year we'll make more of an effort, which I'm looking forward to. I don't know where we'll be going, but I've got this fancy to go to Leeds, well, not Leeds, sorry, that's even further, to Doncaster Gaming Market, because I've been there before and that was quite a decent one. And get to London Market again, which I believe is February or March next year. So I'll definitely try and get to a few more meets.
Yeah,
which would be cool.
You guys, if you're up for it, you should come to the Salute, which is at the XL. It's all the tabletop wargaming stuff, but I think you'd actually genuinely enjoy it. It's
when is that?
Really good. It's normally in March time.
The only thing I would say with that is that, how close is that to that toy fair we was thinking of, Martin?
I don't know actually. I can't remember what the date was, but yeah, I think Salute is normally end of March, beginning of April, sort of around that sort of weekend.
Mind you, that's more of a day thing, isn't it? So
it's just the London XL. You just go up there and you spend the day there. It's only a 1 day show, but it's really good fun. It's a really good show. For me, it's probably the biggest. Well, it's not actually going to be our biggest one, because me and James are going to. I know we're going wildly off topic, but we're going to Adepticon next year, which is the largest wargaming event in the world, which is in a place called Milwaukee. So that's where we're going next year.
You're going to America?
We are indeed, me and James.
Oh, that's sexy, isn't it?
Yeah,
whoa. Go and buy some dice from Milwaukee for your board games.
Yes.
If you see a Mighty Ducks shirt while you're out there, grab us one.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out. So, but yeah, I think charity shops, going back to the topic, they seem to be hit and miss for me, certainly. But as you guys have seen, well, you guys have yourselves experienced, you got loads of decent stuff from it, and yes, YouTube is still full of great finds, right? Your people are out there, and I think the important thing is, as you said, Chef, is the extra effort. Meaning, you've got to go regularly. You've got to try and make relationships with the people that run these things, so they put things aside for you if that's what you want. And yeah, you got to sort of build your network, really, haven't you, to find the good stuff.
Just a little tip that I do, that I used to do. I haven't done it recently. I would take, if there's a charity shop that I've got good stuff in before, what I do is I take some charity to them. So like if I've got jackets and clothes, and then like I'll make a kind of a head point and say, right, listen, I'm bringing this in for you. Like, you know, like just so they know my face a bit better. Oh yeah, you bought in that. I know it sounds daft, but it does help out in the long run.
Yeah, I'm not so. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
I mean, to be fair, anything I ever get, if I've got stuff that I don't want and you guys don't want, I always give it straight to the charity anyway.
Yeah, that's fair enough,
You know?
isn't it?
Plus, obviously, I look at the consoles and all that as well, don't I? Because where they get them in, a lot of the time they've got the cables missing, or they don't have games for them, or there's a controller missing. So they come to me because I've got all the bits for them, so then I can test them. So, so there's that as well.
Chef, give us a highlight of 2024.
Wow, moving was a big highlight, I guess. Expensive highlight. Yeah, man, expensive highlight, but all good. It's slowed me down with collecting in some respects, because normally I'd be out and about everywhere, as you know, Martin, knocking down doors, you know, robbing the older generation of people, should we say, for their Amigas. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, mate, honestly, that was
so good. Oh, prime.
That was so bad. That was when he was like, "Oh, I don't know if you robbed that old lady car."
You are getting a name for yourself, Chef. Yeah, cool.
There's a lot of names for me, gents, as you well know. So yeah, so I haven't been scouring as much as I normally would be. But it's been a refocusing year, because I've been looking at what I do have and trying to work out, when I do put everything all back together in the games room, the direction I'm going to be going in, because I collect for everything, but I don't have full sets, if that makes sense. Like I'm not a full set collector by any means. You know, I'm not going out buying Britney Spears on the PS2 dance beat just for the sake of having a full set, sort of thing. However, if I see something I don't have and I want it, I will buy it. And I've always had that kind of way when it comes to collecting. There's certain games I would like to get, which seems to be very Japanese at the moment, very Famicom slash Genesis, or even Japanese Mega Drive, rather than PAL stuff, purely because I've got so much stuff that I need to catalog, which I think is the best word, which I've already said before, that when the games room's together, I need to go through and work out, because I know I've got doubles of all sorts of stuff, which is mad, because if I see something out and about and I don't know if I've got it, I collect it. I've got a gaming app where I can catalog my stuff, but it's not up to date by any means. I haven't done everything before. I know it's not, because
mine isn't.
But I think I have more. Once it's all together and in one room, I can just go through it and just catalog stuff. I mean, yeah, this year's just been definitely a refocusing when it comes to gaming. Obviously, I went to a couple of meets, met a few people, went to Scott Sega Zombies party, which was good. I thought there was something earlier in the year as well, but I'm getting confused now. And then I went to the London Gaming Market, which hasn't changed really from when I went years ago, in the fact it's still overpriced and it still smells of cabbage. But I think it's just been a slower year, even for the tubes. I've done next to nothing. But next year I think be return of the chef, should we say?
Well, we can get into plans for 2025 a bit later on, can't we? But I was going to ask a question actually. Because your collection is so well, from what you told me, the vastness of your collection. Do you think by accident close to any full sets? I know you said you're not a full set collector, but could you be like 50 away from owning a Mega Drive set just because of this? Because you don't know what you have, sort of thing. Do you think there's any chances of that?
Master System probably is one because there's only 270 or 242, something like that. I can't be far off Master System. Obviously, Mega Drive and Super NES is 500 or 450 plus. I mean, there's no way of that. But then Wii U, I was very close to a full set. But then I think we had this discussion before. I ain't paying 150 pound for a Just Dance game just to look it on the shelf. I'm not that. Regardless of how much cash I do or don't have, I'm not looking to be doing that kind of stuff. I don't really see the point in that, you know. And each to their own. I'm not judging anyone, but for me, I don't see the point where that 150 is on that shelf when I can go and get A, B, and C, which I do want, for example. But I've got loads of it. I've got loads of everything. Like, you know,
Do you think you could be tempted if once you put it all on the shelf and you're 33 games away from a full set Master System collection? Do you reckon you'd be like, "Oh, go on then"? Like, you know.
I'm not that kind of. I'm not a completionist, shall I say? I've never been like that. Again, because there's some games on there that are just like championship hockey. I've got no intent in paying, was it £200-300 for something that again will sit on the shelf. If I want to play a hockey game, I'm gonna play NHLPA 93 or 94. I mean the Mega CD version is awesome. NHLPA 94, I love that version. You know, Blades of Steel. I mean, it's not the best, but I do enjoy it. There's one called Brutal Hockey on the Switch. There's so many. Do you know? Yeah, even if I was one away, I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. So I was actually going to talk about a game as my sort of one of the highlights of the year. I mean, obviously you guys have covered some really great topics there already. But obviously I talked about a couple of episodes ago, Baldur's Gate 3 would be my game of the year, is my game of the year. But I couldn't not talk about this game because I waxed lyrical about it in our groups we're together. But it's Elden Ring's DLC. So I know I can't call it game of the year because I'm not sure you can have DLC as a game of the year. But my recommendation to everybody, if they haven't played it, is one, to play the Elden Ring base game, but then also play the Shadow of the ErdTree, which is the DLC for it, because it's almost, I'm going to say, not the whole game again, but at least a third or maybe a half of the base game. It's such a big DLC. And it was absolutely fantastic. And if Elden Ring wasn't the game, and I know Elden Ring didn't come, sorry, if Baldur's Gate didn't come out this year, but it was a game I played this year, it would be the Shadow of the ErdTree would be my game of the year. It was so excellent. So yeah, I know you guys haven't. You have played it, Chef, right? You've played some Elden Ring.
Yeah, I'm fairly far, but I just kind of give up. I want to go back to it. I want to get that DLC. I think I checked when you mentioned it the other week, and I think it's like 20 something odd pounds. So I'm playing. Obviously, I'm playing stuff over Christmas. So if I can get round to it, I will get back into it. Great game. You know, as you know anyway, Mike. Graphically, just amazing. Storyline, the level of detail. It's the detail in stuff that I always find is where a game, you know, to make to that next level of how good it really is. The detail in stuff is just awesome.
Yeah. Nerdy Gizzly, you've not played it, right?
I'll be honest, these sort of games, like, because this is going to be one of them crazy ones that takes hours to play, right? Ridiculous hours, isn't it?
Days, months.
Yeah, and them sort of games always put me off because of that. Because I'm like, I just ain't got the time. Like, why would I even invest just a little bit into this? Because I'm never going to finish it. And so I don't even bother. Like, you know, I suppose the other thing is that we've kind of been sort of burnt with AAA games recently as well. So like that kind of puts me off as well, because obviously it's a big blockbuster. It's like, do I really want to, you know? So yeah, there's a couple of reasons why I've not really gone anywhere near it. I've not played any of the previous games either, so that's another reason.
Yeah, luckily it's a completely separate from the Dark Souls universe and all the rest of it, so you don't need to have played any other games. My yes, it is a long game. I mean, I think a full completion of the game is probably 50, 60 hours or something. But, obviously you could play that over the course of a year. It actually isn't that big at all when you think about it like that. So I would say don't, because games are big these days. Look at the God of War games, look at almost every sort of big game that comes out. They're all 50, 60, 70 hour long games, which at least you're getting a good bang for buck, I guess, because games are costing 60, 70 pounds to buy. The biggest thing I'll say about Elden Ring, which I love, is the sense of achievement in it. Like when you beat a boss, you will literally punch the air with happiness that you've managed to fight your way through it, because I haven't felt like that in a video game for quite some time. Like back in what they used to call NES hard games, or in the Super Nintendo time, when you finally beat something, you were genuinely quite happy. And I think games now are so forgiving that it is just a matter of time before you beat the thing. Like it isn't skill or anything like that that gets you there. You can just keep respawning. There's no game over. There's no you can turn on some additional help to get you through things. You can even lower the difficulty to a point where it's almost just a cakewalk. There's no achievement in doing it. And what I liked about the Elden Ring game, there's definitely some stuff you can do to make life easier, but every boss, you have to learn the boss. You have to learn when you can strike and defend and move and all these sorts of things. And there's a massive sense of achievement when you actually do take down that final piece of the hit bar and kill the boss. And I remember when I beat the Elden God at the end of the first game before the DLC. James was sat behind me and I literally yelled. I was like, yes. And I think I said the F word and was like, James was like, you're clearly excited. I was like, yeah, I really am. I can't believe I've done that, because it took me so long to do it. It was like a genuine, you just don't get that in video games anymore. I don't feel like you get that kind of sense of relief that you finally achieved something quite cool. And that for me cemented it as a game I'll sort of hold dear for a long, long time, because those are what you want. Well, that's what I want when I play a video game. I want that sense of achievement and sense of doing well at something. So yeah, when the DLC came out this year, we all got it. So I had to buy 4 copies of that DLC when it came out.
Oh,
That's the only problem with the gaming family is whenever a game comes out, you can't just buy a single copy of it. So I think I own Elden Ring, at least 4 times on 4 different systems, and then the DLC is also on all of those as well. So but we all play it, we all talk about the bosses, we all talk about our playthroughs and stuff. And I would highly recommend it. If you've not had a chance, maybe it comes into the charity shop, Lee, or something like that, you see it cheap somewhere, definitely pick it up and give it a go. It's a really, really fun game, especially on the PS5. It will look amazing on the PS5. That's a Elden Ring would be my... Well, Elden Ring's Shadow of the ErdTree is my top pick for 2024. Yeah. Lee, Nerdy Geezer, what was another highlight for you?
Right. Okay. So we're going to go to TV, which is unusual. Normally talk about film, but no, we're going to.
So this is a highlight, because I know there's a lot of TV that you would not have as a highlight.
Oh, absolutely. This is a highlight.
controversial.
Right? This is absolutely a highlight, and I'll tell you why. Because it's Sylvester Stallone, the guy who stands a firm foot away from all the crazy idiots in California. The guy that's been around forever, the guy that knows what the fans want. And of course, what am I talking about? Well, it's Tulsa King season 2. Have any of you guys watched it?
I must admit I haven't. That sounds terrible, but I haven't seen it. But from what I know, you're about to go into it, so I won't take anything. But because of the way you speak about it, I'm definitely going to watch it. So yes.
About you, Chef? You watched it?
Not season 2, mate. Season 1, yes. I've got there's so much for me to watch. As you know, there's loads of things, but no, I haven't seen season 2 yet.
It's so good. Like it really is good. Like there's no nonsense. Like there's none of this current shenanigans that we're seeing going on in Hollywood. It's almost like it's Stallone's way of putting 2 fingers up at the man and saying, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do what people actually want to watch."
Can you summarize it, Lee? Someone who's never seen it before, can you kind of give us a quick synopsis of what the show's about?
Right. Okay. So basically, what happens is we start in the first season at the beginning of it. with Sylvester Stallone's character getting out of prison, and you quickly find out that he was a mob enforcer, and that he's just done some time for them. He's kept quiet, done his time. He gets out, and they decide they want to ship him off to the middle of nowhere to basically take control of the area for the mafia, right? What they don't actually tell him really is that they just want him out of the way. And it's because there's a bit of a power struggle going on. And obviously he's one of their generals, so they don't want him there sort of messing it up, right? And what happens is he gets sent off to Tulsa, and very quickly he takes control of Tulsa, and he's now the new gangster. And he then decides, well, do you know what? Why am I doing this for them? What did they do for me when I was in prison? Where are they now? They're not helping me out. Screw them. I'm doing this for myself. And basically this is what you're seeing, like from there on. So it's really good. Like Stallone just slips into the character so well. It's very good. Yeah.
Excellent. So, is there a new direction in season 2? Is it sort of what's made season 2 even better than season 1?
So obviously the first season is establishing. I really apologise if you can hear my dog at the moment.
No, you're right.
Just coming the gate. The first season is obviously establishing him against the mafia that he was a part of. Season 2 is where you're now starting to see where he's getting control of certain things. He's starting to put like firm sort of foundations down, and it's now starting to interfere with gangsters in the local areas. And so now he's getting a bit of pushback from some local gangsters to a point where you now got a bit of sort of gang warfare going on, if you like. So yeah, it's good. It's really good. So
and is it setting up that premise of him sort of growing out of Tulsa and becoming a larger sort of?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
I'm definitely check it out.
I'm not going to obviously give away the ending, but I'm very interested to see where season 3 goes, because I knew certain things were going to happen. You could tell, but I didn't expect the ending you got for season 2. I really didn't. It's going to go in a completely different direction next season.
Yeah. Has it already been renewed for that season? Did you know?
Oh yeah, they've renewed. I think the next 2 seasons, 3 and 4.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good.
Keeping Sylvester Stallone in work.
Yes,
which is nice.
I just hope, because obviously he's getting up there a bit, and I just hope that we still got him for a few more years. You know, because he's the only same person in Hollywood.
How old is he now? How old is Sylvester Stallone?
Mid-70s, isn't he? Late 70s?
I think he's 76, 74 or 70. Yeah, I'll have a look in a second. Actually,
we can always look as good as he does at 76. Then he's still a fit.
78.
78.
Sorry.
Yeah.
78.
I mean, guy's a legend. I'll tell you, it'll be a very sad day when we lose Stallone. It really will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of those legends, right? The Arnold Schwarzeneggers, all these people. They're all. I mean, obviously, terrible what's happened to Bruce Willis over the years, isn't it? So obviously now.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen eventually. As it is to all of us. Merry Christmas, everybody. Okay, brilliant. Well, look, I'm definitely going to watch it. I've got some time, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to start watching it this week. I will. Where can I find it, Lee? Is it like an Amazon thing? Is
Amazon?
It Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon Prime. Chef, you watched season 1. What did you think of season 1?
I actually thought, for something that didn't get a lot of hype in this country, I thought it was very well done. And I think there's a film that Stallone done many years ago, which is terrible, but obviously it's Get Carter, which is terrible, which is such a bad film.
Yeah.
But you know that, I don't want to say it's similar, because it's not similar, but what I'm trying to get across is that Stallone in that film is the gangster, well-dressed, conversed well, looks the part, and it's kind of similar in that really tiny little speck of the fact of the way he comes across.
Yeah.
And I just think I think it's great. I haven't watched season 2 because this year I've just watched so much other stuff. You know, Reacher, Fallout, Sandman. There's so much stuff to watch across all these different networks.
Yeah.
But I am gonna get round to watching season 2 because it's great.
Well, one last thing I wanted to add is a bit in season 1, and it's clever how he did this. He managed to tackle something without it becoming woke, right? So there's a part where he goes into a garage, right? And he's got like a, first of all, he hires this little Uber guy to drive him around, right? And he decides that he likes this guy, you know, and he's a African American guy, so he decides he wants him as his driver, right? So he gives him a load of cash to go into this dealership and buy a motor. And of course, the guy doesn't want to sell it to him, and it's because of what he looks like, you know, and the fact he's just come with a load of cash to buy. I think it's an Escalade he asked for. So basically, the guy refuses. So then Stallone goes in, right? Long and short of it, Stallone punches the guy and then says to him, like, you know, the funny thing, he said, you wouldn't sell a car to him because of the way he looks and because of the amount of cash he's got, whereas you would sell it to me. And I'm actually the one that you should be worried about, not him. And I found that really good. I thought that's a good way of tackling that particular subject without making it all this woke rubbish, like you say. Clever, right? And it makes sense to the script, don't it? So, yeah, it was really good. It was really well done. So
I definitely have to check it out. Like I say, I'll get it watched and then I can feed back to you what I think.
Yeah.
Sounds like Chef, you need to catch up on season 2.
Yeah, I do. I will.
Go on, Chef. Give us your next pick of 2024.
So obviously Lee's done TV shows. Mine's going to be, I guess, a cross between of movie/TV shows. We've had quite a few anime mangas which have been from TV into movies. You know, Jujutsu Kaisen, which is one I don't think you guys watch, but it's one of my favorites. My Hero Academia. We've had one Solo Leveling. There's this year I've been catching up on all of these great animes and trying to go through the old backlog. I recently picked up a Gundam movie that is an adaptation of one episode, one half an hour episode, which was back in the early 80s, that got redone into a movie because it was such an iconic episode that people loved the storyline, that I've managed to get it on Blu-ray and watching it. And I've just been going through reminiscing some of the older anime stuff recently with my kids, because obviously my oldest is massively into anime, so is my youngest. So I've been going through some of my back catalogue of movies, trying to get them into some of the classics, you know, Afro Samurai. If you guys have not seen Afro Samurai, it's the music, the voice acting, and the drawings, the storyline is just immense.
Oh, that was a game on the 360, wasn't it?
It was,
It came out afterwards, yeah. 360 and PS3. Samuel Jackson does the voice of Afro Samurai, and it's just, if you say, you just got to watch it. It's just such a cool storyline. The music's done by the Raz, part of the Wu-Tang Clan. It's unreal. So going through the back catalog of that, going back and watching Cyber City, which is one of my favorite animes, Ninja Scroll, Go 13. So just where I've just kind of been surrounded by boxes of stuff, I've just been going through and watching the old movies, you know, and just kind of, just reminiscing with my kids, really, when someone else they can watch, you know. One of the ones that I watched, and I think I mentioned to you guys before, I watch once a month. I haven't watched it this month yet. It's Transformers the movie, the original cartoon movie, which is still one of my favorite. I mean, it's got everything in that movie. Yeah, you know, even today, I just love it. And Transformers 1 came out, which is, it's not on the same level, but it is a very good movie. And it's kind of weird because when I saw that movie, Transformers 1, it's kind of, it's a PG, but if you watch it, you could quite easily have it as a 15, because you see Megatron transform, as in his personality, into the Megatron we know, and it's quite a dark part of the movie. And if you think for a PG, well, this is another thing where the ratings have changed so much from when we were kids. The rating of a PG was so much different compared to now. And that's one of those films that I think is actually quite good, and it's, you know, it's not bashing any of the stuff that a lot of people do like to bash nowadays.
You've one out that I was surprised at, Terminator Zero.
Yeah, you see, exactly that. Terminator Zero was something that come out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
It was something that is heavily influenced by Japanese anime, and what they've done in that movie is make a new story in the universe without affecting the original storyline, the canon storyline, let's say. And there's some great scenes in that, the right at the end when the Terminator talks to the young boy, you see a side of a Terminator you've never seen before, which I think was quite interesting moving forward, depending on what else they do with that story. I wasn't quite keen on the female person, the protagonist, not because he was a female, just because I was kind of confused of the way she was. Was she a robot? Was she a cyborg? Because the way she was fighting. But I mean, take nothing against the anime. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it is great. I mean, it's just, I think it's just, it's finding its feet, and if the stories are correct, we should get another one. Even sooner. But yeah, that's it, really, mate.
Yeah,
that's
my only issue with the protagonist in that was she had too much plot armor. So she could go like, a Terminator could snap another person's neck within a split second. Yet she could have a full on fist fight with one and survive. And that's why I was waiting for the reveal of her being augmented in some way. I think that would have made sense for the story. But of course that doesn't happen. And then you're like, but so how can she go toe to toe with a Terminator? And that's classic kind of plot armor where your main character can dodge more bullets than others or take more hits than others and survive.
I thought they used the story. I thought they used the character like in Dark Fate. I can't remember her name. The tall blonde girl.
Yes.
Where she's
augmented.
nanotech or whatever
exactly,
she is. I thought, it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
But she breaks. Did she break her arm? No, I can't remember. I can't remember now without watching it again. But
I'll be honest, I'm glad it was nothing like Dark Fate, because that film is a nonsense. That film is an abomination. That film should be erased off the face of the planet, and our eyelids and our brains and everything.
There's only two Terminator films, guys. We're not going to get into this. I don't care what anyone else says.
Is that Lee's film of 2024? His favourite? No.
Well, it didn't come out then anyway. But the point is, if they ever invent the little flashy thing out of Men in Black, I think we all need that to forget that film. Like, seriously.
Yeah. But that's I thought she was going to be like that, because the way she was moving, the first scene where she's flipping round the walkway, and I was like, wow, this girl better have some sort of nanotech or some sort of armor. But yeah, and then even now, TV shows, which is obviously branched off from a movie, is Skeleton Crew, which I know Lee's enjoying. I'm enjoying. I'm looking forward to tonight's episode. It's just been, I think this year's been not too bad for TV shows. I mean, Yellowstone. I don't know if you guys watch Yellowstone, but I love Yellowstone. And obviously Fallout. I quite enjoyed Fallout. I didn't like the power armors. I thought they looked a bit janky, but then I guess it's probably not got a massive budget, so it needs to have some sort of little flaws, if you will.
But they're fairly janky in the game, to be honest.
Yeah, they are. But then I just thought, I don't know. They look like paper mache.
They
look like paper mache, like the people on the stilts. But I think this year's been fairly good for TV shows, and when it comes for me for watching anime and movies, and there's been so much new direction, I think next year's going to be even more interesting, especially with the final series, Jujutsu Kaisen, which again I know you guys don't watch, but it's awesome. So yeah, just reminiscing, really.
Brilliant.
Old and new.
You mentioned Afro Samurai there, and that then immediately triggered my memory of is it called Blue Eye Samurai?
Blue Eye Samurai.
Was that this year as well? Was that? I think it was this year. Was it? Was it this year? That was.
Yeah, that was on Netflix. That was a great story. An American anime, because they made that quite specific. That's an American anime because of the drawings. Great storyline. Season 2 looks like it should be next year as well. I love anything samurai. I mean, even like Shogun, something else. I love Shogun this year as well. I mean, but yeah, that was cool. Anything samurai or anything like that is obviously, to me, is epically cool.
Yeah, it's been a great year for, I think, like you say, animation, because I don't know if you guys have seen it, but one of my favorite shows of the year has been Arcane, and we just had Arcane season 2.
Yes,
and that was another like animation that I think is just fantastic. And the first season was brilliant. We then had to wait, I think, 3 years for season 2.
It has been 3 years.
Yeah.
So and I've just finished season 2, and now probably, well, actually, I don't believe there is a season 3. I think they are doing a new story in that universe,
Yes.
and a different style of animation as well, because the animation was too expensive, essentially. So hopefully that means a lesser quality of animation, but more throughput, more seasons, more episodes, all that sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see where that one goes. But yeah, I think it's been a great year for probably animation. Certainly, there's certainly been some great stuff out there. Even that new thing, which I don't know if either of you have seen yet, is the level 1. Is it called next? No, was it level 1? Next level? What's it called, Chef?
I shared the other day. Is it next level or special level? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Secret level,
Secret
like
level,
that.
I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched all of them yet, but
no, because the second half is just out, isn't it? But the first half I've seen. Go on, Lee. We'll let you jump in.
I don't. I actually completely forgot about that because I haven't actually started watching that yet. But what I was also going to mention before we moved on was that we've got the Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim.
yes,
I've not watched it, but I've heard. Well, they're not great things that I'm hearing.
oh, that's a shame.
Because what they've done is they've kind of pushed the main character aside, and then they've elevated a female character that was not actually part of the original story or
Oh.
lore. Yeah, the same sort of rubbish that we've been seeing for years now. They've done it again. So, from what I've heard, the animation style's really good, but
Yeah,
they've just kind of messed the story up a bit. I mean, one of the complaints I heard was the female character gets in trouble, a character will come in and help her, and then she ends up helping the character that's helped her. So either way, girl boss. So, and like I say, and it's all ended up about a character that wasn't relevant in the original Tolkien story. So,
oh, good.
not hearing good things. So I probably will swerve that. I don't think I'll be watching that.
I'll definitely watch it because it's a universe that I'm a massive fan. I mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is my favorite 3 films of all time, I think. So I would definitely watch it, and I'm okay with them doing things as long as it's a good story. Like I'll judge it on the quality of the story and the writing and the characters and stuff like that. So let's keep fingers crossed that it's half good. So yeah, is that? Well, I forget. Is it a cinema thing or is it a TV thing? Cinema thing. It's out in the cinema, right?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I think it was out in the cinema.
I think it's cinema because they did red carpet. I'm sure I saw
Yeah, I thought so
all of
too.
them all together. Red carpet. I could be wrong, but I'm sure I've seen them all together. On the
While
red
you're
carpet.
talking, I'll just quickly look it up.
I'm not sure I would go to the cinema, although we should all support our local cinemas. I'm not sure it's probably cinema worthy because I don't know if it needs to be, I don't know, Chef, would you go and see an anime on a big screen? I don't know if it needs that. Is it like a I don't know, I think I'd struggle with big animation.
I tell you what, like there was see, this is the thing, what anime they do, they're very crafty because they say, oh, this film will never get released. Well, sorry, it won't get released till 3 years time. But to buy, they always give some sort of story. So I went and saw Jujutsu Kaisen 0, which was the prequel to the TV show, and I had to go to a local cinema because there was only one cinema local to me that had it, and I went to see it, and then 6 months later, it's out on Blu-ray. But certain ones I'd go and see. I wouldn't go like Lord of the Rings. I wouldn't go and see that in the cinema. I'd wait for it to come out.
Yeah.
But certain ones like Transformers, obviously, there's certain things I would go and see, but some like Terminator, you have to watch on TV. It's just one of them.
Yeah.
I've just looked it up. It is only on the cinema.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'll wait for that to come out then at some point then.
Well, they're saying that. I mean, I don't know how we'll get it here because we don't get Max here, do we? But that's how it'll be distributed when it does stream. So we'll probably get it. Normally, when it's Max or something, it ends up on Amazon Prime normally over here.
Yeah, that's
makes
right.
sense.
So that's probably how it'll end up going.
Yes, and given obviously Amazon already have Rings of Power and all of the other movies on their platform as well, then it probably makes sense that that'll appear, I guess. Right? I don't know if they have the license or whatever, but let's see if it does. But anyway, I will definitely give it a watch. But yes, I think in general what we're saying is been a pretty darn good year for animation. Yeah, so it's lots of things to go out and check. And my recommendation would definitely be Arcane if you've not seen it. I guess Chef, you're saying that well, actually a whole bunch of things you're saying to go and see.
Yes, sorry, yeah. You know me, I can't, like Lee knows, I can't keep to one. But
Yeah,
definitely.
he loves a list.
I'm sorry.
This is true. This is actually true.
No, I know, because I like to. I'm a chef. I've got many pots on the stove. You know, I like to.
Takes a lot of ingredients to make a great dish, Chef. That's what we're gonna say. That's what we're gonna say.
Definitely solo leveling, please. Solo leveling, Jujutsu Kaisen. They're the two I would definitely. Oh, and Terminator. I would say those ones you need to definitely see. Newer ones, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I was then going to cover off the board game I think you should all go out and get this Christmas. And it's actually a very recent one. So last year I nominated, but last year when I did videos about this sort of stuff, I called Moonstone my game of the year. So I'm not going to go back to Moonstone, even though Moonstone's the game we've been playing the most this year. But I recently got a new game, and it's one that I did a Let's Play of on the channel, and it's actually fantastic. And that's The Last of Us, the board game, which is something that was originally a Kickstarter. So I think I kickstarted it in November 2022, and it arrived maybe about a month ago. But it is a game that you can now go out and buy. So it is in general release, and you can pick it up and get it. And it's a really good fun. I'll try and play it out. Do you remember the old fighting fantasy books where you would, read a bit of story and then have to make a decision on what you're going to do? Maybe you're going to go left, or you're going to go right, or maybe you're going to fight the monster, maybe you're going to run away, whatever it is you're going to do. Well, it's that, but in the Last of Us universe, and you're also cooperating together. So now imagine 3 or 4 of you are reading that same book, and you're making decisions together of what you're going to do. You're going to fight the monster, you're going to run away, and you're trying to escape through a sort of city location. There's a big bad at the end. It could be a big monster, it could be the Firefly, it could be the Fedra, the people that are trying to maintain control in the Last of Us universe. And it has a really great sort of way to play through the game. Something I'd love to do with you guys at some point, if you're up for it, is we could do a game.
Yeah,
I think we could even do it on. I think we could probably even do it online. But yeah, and it's a reason why I recommend it, especially for anyone with families of maybe sort of, maybe not young kids, but certainly 10 and upwards. It has a really great story. So you're reading paragraphs about what's happening to your characters. So if you've ever wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons maybe, or role-playing games, but don't have the time, talent, desire to write your own story, because that can be quite hard. One of the hardest things of Dungeons and Dragons is being the dungeon master, right? You've got to come up with the whole idea. Well, this is already pre-built for you. The adventure's there. You just have to go on the adventure and make the choices. You're building your characters, you're scavenging for weapons or food, you're deciding whether you're going to go and explore or rest or build your camp or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And then when you come into encounters, you're then rolling dice to see if you can survive and, all the things. But so, yeah, a really fantastic game. Like I said, I did do a Let's Play of it. I played through a game in about an hour and 10. So it's probably an hour to hour and a half game, which is a good size game for a family game to sit around a table and play together. But yeah, I think a really good representation of the Last of Us universe in tabletop form. So if you're a big lover of the game and maybe the TV series, I think you'll really enjoy playing the game. Yeah, I don't know if either of you saw it at all. Have you sort of seen anything of the game, Lee? I'll come to you first, Lee.
I started to watch it, as you know, when I was at work, but unfortunately it was on my phone, so it was like tiny. I couldn't. I could kind of get a brief idea of what Martin was doing, but couldn't really see what he was doing very well, not on a small screen. The intention was obviously to finish it when I got home, but I haven't actually got around to that yet. So,
That is true.
what I could see of it, it kind of it reminded me like I suppose like most sort of tabletop games, but also it kind of reminded me of an old game, which is Cluedo. Like in the way that you were taking the cards out, which would then decide what the next move was. Kind of like, when you take the card out and then it's deciding where you did the murder and what you did it with, sort of thing. Like, kind of reminded me a bit of that in a lot of ways.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to explain the location, so what you'll do is you'll have I think the game's got 5 locations and then the end location. And the 5 locations, like one of them's, let's say one of them's called the university. You'll take a pack of cards that have all got university on, and every one of those cards has an event. Either you're finding something, or you're fighting something, or you've got to make a decision. And you'll take, of the 10 university cards, you'll take 5 of them, and the other 5 will go back in the box for another day. You take the 5 cards, you shuffle them up, and then that's your deck. So when you go to the university, you'll turn over the top card and you'll go through that. So it's unique almost every time you go there. Eventually, you would have played the same cards, but probably not in the same order. Therefore, it's different every time. And you do that at each of the locations, so that each time you play through the game, you are playing a different adventure. And there's about, I can't remember how many boss cards there were. There were like maybe 5 to 7 boss cards. So again, a different boss, hopefully every time game, at least for the first 7 odd times or whatever. It just means you have a different. But yes, that point of turning the card, who turned the card, what were they trying to do, what does the story have, what are the reactions, what are we then going to do about what's going on? Is it run, fight, scavenge, whatever? It does have that in it. So, and it is very much relies on cooperation. So, for instance, when you roll for the monster, let's say you're having a fight with a monster and you have to make its health pool is made up by a bunch of dice. If any of those dice have doubles on them, so there's 3 different types of symbol, if it has 2 of those symbols, you've both got to be able to roll to match that. So you have to put your dice together. So you have to cooperate. Say, right, well, we could take away 2 dice, or we could collaborate and take away 1, but a really hard dice. So it has that kind of like working together part of it as well. So imagine when you've got 3 or 4 people, there's quite a lot going on, quite a lot of decisions to be made to sort of see if you can survive. And often these games, because I've got 2 others, they've made 2 other games before this, one called Escape the Dark Castle, which is very much like a fighting fantasy book. And the other one is called Escape the Dark Sector, which is a space version of a fantasy book. And very much you're meant to die. That they are hard games that kill you quite often. And this is very similar. So, there's but great fun, really great fun. Highly recommend it. It's a step up from your Monopolies and your Cluedos and your Scrabbles, all those regular games everyone plays at Christmas. If you want something a bit different from Game of Life and all the classics, I would definitely recommend something like this to play.
It's funny you mentioned Game of Life actually, because we're planning on taking that to my father-in-law's on Christmas Day. It's Tara's favourite board game. So,
yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the classics. The classics are great, but they can get a bit repetitive, can't they? They can, there's so many times you can make a family and get a job as a pilot, and then that's it. You've got the most money at the end or something. Jeff, I know you've not played that game, but I know you're a big fan of other board games. I know you picked up, was it Fury of Dracula recently? And you got that as a digital, didn't you? You got the digital game of that.
Well, the digital one, I'm trying to purchase a board game of that, but it seems to be very elusive because all the ones I find on eBay are German. And I'm like, why is someone selling the German one in England? Like, anyway, I'm trying to get that. But the PS4 game is very good. But you can play by you can play alone. Let me say it that way. You can play alone.
Lots of words.
Yes, chef. But you can also play with a team. Because obviously the characters in it. But I think my brother was massively into role play games, and especially the Steve Jackson and I've got the other gentleman.
Ian Livingstone.
And I've got some of them books. I've got some of the older ones he had, with his writing in the pages. For the dice and stuff. And whatnot.
Yeah.
And I really love them. There's some great stories. I mean, I can't think of all the names now. There's like a Witch Mountain one. I can't think of all the names, but there's some cool ones. And I've always been keeping my eye out for those in charity shops, because I have found a few in charity shops.
Yeah.
But I think again, as I'm getting a bit older, I'm going to get more into them. Which I'm not saying it's an old game; it's an old person's game. But I think it's just because I'm just been heavily video games. Ball games have always taken a back seat because my 2 daughters fight like cat and mouse when we play Monopoly or something like that. It's just unreal. I'm not even joking. It's crazy.
You know a game I've been after for ages? Do you remember Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs?
Oh, do I? What? Was it Waddingtons?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I had
super
it
hard
as a
to get.
kid. Yeah. Well, you can find it, but they're never complete. They've always
No,
got bits missing.
correct.
Yeah. I'd love to get that again.
There's there's so many games that when we were kids we used to play. But yeah, there's some great ones, and even the newer ones. Like I mean, watching Martin stuff. The Aliens one, the Nemesis one you spoke about to me before. There's some great ones. I mean, I really want to come to the lodge, and we should really do that. A group of us.
Yeah.
You know, film it, do it live or whatever. Because I think it'd just be a great laugh, and it'd be interesting to see us all do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is so many really great board games. There is, and obviously there's still. I mean, UK the UK Games Expo, which takes place every year in Birmingham, is like 3 or 4 halls of just board games and war
Wow.
games. It's huge. Like there's so many, and that's what I always try and urge people when they go and get a board game. They all still buy the classic, Monopolies and Cluedos, and again, I'm not trying to say they're not good games. They are good games, but the world of war games is so huge. It is well worth checking out what else is out there, because there's some really interesting stuff. And even like you say, when there's confrontation over Monopoly, which I think everyone has a family fallout over Monopoly. I think that is a British institution. But there are some great co-op games. So if you want to make the family play together, there's some really good co-op games, and there's even co-op games that then turn into portrayal games. So Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is a
Yeah.
great game. You all start together investigating a house. Like you're looking for clues, there's spooky things going on, and then an event happens. And one of you, which you don't know at the moment, will betray everyone else in the room.
Love it.
And they will become the big bad of the board game. And based on which clues you found and where you found them, at what time you found them, that then determines who the bad person is. And then they will go off and read a secret text, and you'll read your text. Now you come back together again, and the game's changed. The game has now become you versus them, and that's a fantastic dynamic in that game, and it has like 100+ more different types of ending. Like there's just so many
Wow.
things that can happen. So these are games that you can get out time and time again, and it isn't just the same. It isn't just someone go around the board, someone buys Mayfair and whatever it is, and they probably get a hotel and they win, which is often how Monopoly ends, all right, let's be frank, or Game of Life, where I've got my 4 kids, I've got my pilot's license, I went to university, and now I win the game. That's it. It's kind of the same thing happens. So yeah, there's a big old world of board games out there, and like I say, that Last of Us that just came through would be an excellent choice for anyone who's in love with the Last of Us universe and also wants to give sort of tabletop gaming a try as well. It's always nice when they kind of bridge the gap between the gaming and the tabletop, especially my hobby, because they are both hobbies. I think the Last of Us video game, the swan song game to the PS3, was one of the best games I ever played on the PS3. I know it's been redone a million times, but being that game first came out on the PS3, I think it was a landmark game for that system. It was amazing what they was able to achieve on the deathbed of the PS3. So to then see that in board game form and it works so well, I think they've done a cracking job. Yeah. Right, let's keep going then. I think Lee.
Hang on, before you move on. I just wanted to ask, when you saying about the event, when you saying about them selling games, do they actually sell classic games at them events?
Yes.
Like like the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, they will do. So there's at the UK Games Expo, they do a bring and buy sale as well. So there's a whole hall where people will bring all of their old board games, leave them there, go off around the event, do all the things, and whilst they've left their games there, people are going in and buying them. At the end, you go back and collect all your money. So the bring and buy.
I'm sensing a road trip for 3 of us.
Yeah. If I'm going to find that game complete, that's probably where I'll find it, right?
UK Games Expo is fantastic. We go almost every year. It's a 3-day event, and the local hotels will turn their lobbies and everything into gaming spaces. That's how big it is.
Oh, wow.
Like you're talking tens of thousands of people that go, and the hotels are all booked. Everyone's playing, so all their dining rooms, everything get turned into tables and chairs, and everyone takes everything they bought at the thing. It's really especially for families. Like, it's one of the best events I've taken my children to. You know,
Where is it,
and
Martin? Did you say?
Birmingham, the
In Bir-
Birmingham NEC. Yeah.
Ah,
So
yeah.
Oh, right. Cool.
it's super easy to get to. Like, if you
Yeah.
get the train in from London, or you can drive
Cool.
fairly easy. And if you do go, one, if you're going to book, if you want to stay for more than one day, which I definitely recommend, book a hotel early because they book up pretty fast. Two, I guess there isn't a two. Book a hotel early is what I'd say if you're going to go. If you're going to go, but it is genuinely well worth it. UK Games Expo, I think it's the biggest in Europe. I'm not sure how it compares. There is one more called Essen in Germany. I don't know how it compares, but it's certainly fantastic. You know.
Wow.
Ooh, sounds like might be a plan. This.
Yeah. We go every year. Even if we can only make one day, then we always go every year. But normally we go for one or two. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Lee, what's your sort of final sort of highlight of the year?
Well, I suppose the last one's got to be pretty obvious for me because I mentioned it obviously in a previous podcast we did, but that's PC gaming because obviously I've come back to that this year, and I'm now going to kind of like, obviously if you remember I did a video a while back about how important physical collecting is and making sure that you got physical copies of your films because they change them and even to a certain extent with certain games, but of course on PC gaming. And I have been for all the new titles that I've been playing this year. So as a result, I'm playing digital games on my PC. So, I suppose I'm kind of like pointing out the highlights of digital gaming in the fact that one thing I've noticed is obviously CD keys can make it a hell of a lot cheaper to acquire these games. Then there's the fact that, if you live in a small place like me, you don't have to worry about all the clutter because the new games you're buying are not taking any space up. Well, they are on your hard drive, but that's about it. And I've just enjoyed getting back into it. I mean, with the fact now that, obviously when I was into PC gaming before, you didn't have Microsoft controllers that were compatible with PCs and all that. Everything was keyboard. Whereas now you can pick up a controller like you would do a console and play a game quite comfortably. You don't have to be a guru at using a keyboard to play a game like you had to back then. So I've really enjoyed getting back into all of that. Like I pointed out before, I've been playing RoboCop Rogue City and enjoying that. And I've downloaded a few newer ones since. I think I said to you recently, there's a lot of like 16-bit style pixel games that they brought out, like Blazing Chrome and what was the other one I was playing the other day? I forget the name of it now. There was another one as well I was playing, and then there was one you told me about. Is it the Messenger, Chef? You told me about the one where it's a little ninja guy.
Yeah, the Messenger's getting heated a minute because it's getting re-released, Switch and PS5, and at one point you were paying £300 for the game on eBay, and now it's getting re-released. But yeah, Messengers is awesome. Ninja Gaiden,
Yeah,
wicked.
I've bought it. I haven't played it yet, but I have downloaded it. Yeah, we're thinking the same one, right? 16-bit style graphics.
It's just like Ninja Gaiden or Shadow Warriors on the NES, if you will. Yeah, awesome game.
How much is it? How much is it if you were to buy it today, Chef? How much is the Messenger?
What, through eBay?
Yeah,
like 250 plus £300.
Wow!
And now, I think it's getting released. This is where it gets so dodge. You have to buy it from a Spanish website. In March, it's coming out next year, and it's like 30-40 quid.
Yeah. We're on PC right now. It's £3.95.
Yeah, I think I actually paid less than that because I think I got it on a Black Friday deal. It was like £2.95 or something like that.
Which would be sacrilege for some because they want a physical copy of the game in their hand. Yeah. And I'm totally on board with that. But I don't know how you can justify 300 versus
mad, isn't it?
3. It's like it is kind of crazy, isn't it?
I hope Lee, you can get Mummy Demastered because I need to get everyone to play that game. I love that game. I love that game. It's so good. Oh dear.
You do go on about that game a lot.
I know.
You do love it.
Yeah. Oh, while we're talking about games, I know it's slightly off subject here, but I was talking to you the other day about the Life on Mars and the Metal Dragon on
Yes.
I managed to find it. Funstock got it back in stock, so I've actually managed to get hold of a copy of it. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, and that is on the Evercade, obviously, because I'm not paying for the Mega Drive ones. So
Well, look,
yeah.
I think what you said there, Lee. One, I'm glad you joined the PC Master Race because you know we are superior to all other gamers.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a personal computer gamer all of my life. If I think back to ZX81, Commodore 16, Commodore 64, Amiga, IBM, and then IBM compatibles, and then that obviously led into what we just generally call PCs today, right? You know, so I have always had a keyboard and had a joystick, and you know that then became a mouse and obviously a joypad at some point. So I think it's still one of the best ways to game. I think even if you're a console gamer, having a PC available that you can play games on, because there's so many free games as well. I know people want physical games, and I totally get that. I have plenty myself. You can build a PC library, honestly, without ever spending a penny.
Yeah.
Because there are ways to get games. I'm not talking piracy. I mean, they're just given away sometimes. Most of us have got Amazon Prime, or we've got subscriptions to you know, like, or we see humble subscriptions to like what services that do this, like Twitch and stuff like that, when they just give games away. Amazon Prime give away maybe 10 games a month that most people probably never claim. And they don't even realize it. I picked up about 10 games the other day for nothing, and I know it's nothing, but I would have Amazon Prime anyway. I have it for I have it for the movies. I have it for the free delivery. This is just another bonus. So you genuinely can build game libraries for next to nothing. And then when you do want to spend money, well, you wait for Steam sales, humble bundles, other offers that are out there, and you're picking up games for pence, honestly.
The other great thing about PC gaming I've found, right, is, and this is the bonus of it all, because I'm buying the new games digitally, it then means you've got that bit more room to get your retro physical, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it. It's an extra bonus. So yeah, it means that you're not cluttering your place with new stuff, and you can kind of keep that space reserved for the older stuff, you know. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
enjoying it.
yeah, and then if you want to go and play old games, I mean, you've got places like GOG, which allows you to go and download most of the games, and they have a really cool system in that. Obviously, yeah, the one negative to Steam is if Steam was to ever, you know, go bust, which is not likely to happen, you would lose access to those games. With
Yeah.
GOG, anything you buy, you can download the executables for the game, and you now own the game. So it's up to
Yeah.
you to make sure you back them up and, you know, keep them safe, etc. But they don't tie you into a client. They do have a client. You don't have to use it. You can download, install like you used to do back in the 90s and early 2000s, and have that game local to you, and you keep it forever. So, they have a really good system there that allows you to keep those games. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm a massive advocate for PC gaming. I always have been. It's probably where I do 75% of my gaming is on PC. Yeah.
You know, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
You
you're
know,
right, mate. Carry on.
the other bonus of GOG I found as well is that also games that were broken, it
Yep.
solves the problem at the end. Because, for example, as you know, I like the game Star Wars Battlegrounds, right? And that game is broken, like the original. It crashes out all the time. Whereas obviously, if you get it on GOG, it's fixed. It doesn't have that problem.
Yeah.
Also, there used to be a problem with Star Wars Force Unleashed, and you know, if you play that on Steam, which I have been playing, you don't have that problem again. Although
Yeah.
there is a controller issue where it does disconnect your controller for some reason. I don't know why that is. You have to use a wired one. But
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, a lot of the bugs are fixed, which is a good thing I've found as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There are some games that are lost to time. So there's a game called, and what came after Wing Commander basically were games called Starlancer and Freelancer. And those games, they're not available on any platforms because Microsoft own it and they don't have it available on any of their platforms. So I still have them physically nicely, which is why I have a Windows XP retro PC to still be able to run those games on. because you just can't find them you can't find them legitimately anywhere. You know, obviously it's the internet, you can find anything. But there are a few, but very, very, very few that GOG haven't then taken, you know, only ran in Windows XP or only ran in even 3.1, and they've then modernized it enough for you to have to get it run in Windows 10, 11. And they tend to use a back-end piece of software called DOSBox, which essentially is an emulation software. Fires the PC up as a DOS PC and then allows them to run the software. So good. Chef, you ever been a PC gamer? Ever owned yourself a big rig?
Yes, back in the day, because it was the only way to play Championship Manager.
Right.
Obviously, I was
Wow.
massive into Champ Manager. My parents bought me a Packard Bell Windows 98 from Curry's.
Oh.
£2,000 it was,
Oh.
and it was like, yeah, it was a behemoth of power. Yeah, I had Champ Manager throughout. There's one game that I'm going to mention. I don't know if Lee's ever played it. It was the Klingon Honor Guard. Now, it was the Star Trek game. It's basically like Doom, but you're a Klingon with the Klingon weapons.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
I
Oh
have
my
played
God,
that. Yeah.
awesome. And obviously Blade Runner, because there was no Blade Runner game anywhere. It still isn't really. No, there isn't still even today. And I bought that and I played that on my PC, Full Throttle, and the Leisure Shoot Larry games I used to play quite a lot. Oh, who would guess? And then I briefly got into some of the Star Wars games. So Dark Forces, I played first on the PC.
Yeah.
Then I
Good
bought it on,
choice.
yeah, which was awesome. Then I played it on the PS1, which was obviously not as good, but it was easier to I say easier to play, easier to set up, I guess, and whatnot. I'm just trying to think what else I used to play massively on the PC. I mean, I haven't got anything now to play PC games, but when again Games Room, I want to get an older style PC so I can play Chat Manager again, because you know I used to spend hours, and you know we were up to like 2058, and Alan Shearer was an old timer, but well, like my assistant manager sort of thing. It was like that, you know, like but there is some awesome like you said, Wing Commander. I love Wing Commander.
Yeah.
I love it on the Super Nintendo, but playing that on a PC was just way better. I'm trying to think what else. There was some Star Trek games I used to play and other good ones, but yeah.
I was about to mention one actually. Do you remember Star Trek Armada?
Armada.
It was one where it was a bit like Star Wars Battlegrounds and Command and Conquer, where you had to strategically put your ships and stuff. You know,
I
yeah,
do know
really
it.
good.
I do know it. I think I had this a demo. But those kind of games, the strategy ones, I never really. I quite like the Doom style games or the point and click. So I think
But
I broke.
They did do, I think, a first-person shooter. Wasn't it a Voyager game? Voyager Elite Team, maybe?
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Elite,
I think,
yeah,
you are right. Yeah.
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 Because I'd say Honor Guard was the first one, because obviously I'm sure it's got Wolf on the front cover from.
Have you got a Klingon on the front cover? Yes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. If it's
I'm
Wolf, but
assuming it's Wolf, obviously from
yeah.
Next Generation, because obviously I used to watch Next Generation on BBC Two after Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day, if you remember that. Used to be on afterwards. I used to watch it. And there was a few others, but they
I mean,
escaped.
there's a Star Trek point and click adventure game that's voiced by the Star Trek crew. So
Yeah.
Kirk and all the rest of them. So it is actually voiced by them.
So I have the Super Nintendo, which is not voiced, obviously, Star Trek Next Generation game, but I think that's a point and click game. But there's a few 16-bit games around. But then
Yeah.
I bought one. I'll have to show you afterwards. I'm not going to remember the name. I got it on I think it's on the Xbox 360. It's like where you're in the spaceship. You're in your ship and that, and you're doing bits and pieces. Whether you're going down to planets and trying to find resources. I can't think.
Yes. Legacy. I've got it.
Legacy. Yes, there we
Yeah.
go. There is quite a few. There's so many. There's one on the PS5, Lee, that's been on like £20 on Amazon for ages. I'm so tempted to buy it, but I need to watch a bit of it to kind of see if I want to get it. I can't think of what it's called, but there's so many, isn't there?
I mean, there's been I know we're again going off on a tangent talking about Star Trek games, but when the PSVR first came out and you had the Star Trek bridge game. That was
Yeah.
brilliant. I played
remember
that. I played that online with complete strangers, and it was hilarious. It was so much fun. Where each of you plays a different position, whether you're in
Wow.
tactical, you're the captain, you're navigation, or you're I think I can't remember which other. There's 4 roles essentially, and you just jump into it with 3 other strangers, and
Wow.
something happens because you all of a sudden just start role playing as Star Trek. Like, no one agrees. You've never met these 3 other people before. No contract's been made. But all of a sudden, you're like, "Yes, Captain." Like you just start. Something weird happens in your head where you're like, "Well, I'm on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, so I'm going to start acting like an ensign."
Oh, I love it. That'd be
That was
good to
great
watch.
fun. Yeah,
That'd be good to see.
Yeah, I think the way they've done it is you've got like one person on tactical, one person will be on the con, and then I
Yeah.
think someone's the captain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. It's just like you see in the program.
It's really
Yeah.
bizarre because you all kind of just make a little social contract to each other, be like, "We're doing this, right? Yeah, we are. Okay, we're just gonna do this then." And I
Sounds
had
like
some
good
great,
fun.
I had some great games of that, which is complete and utter strangers. It was really funny.
Yeah.
You mentioned there the Wing Commander games, Chef. When we do get you up and running with a retro PC or something, you've got to check out Freelancer. Freelancer's like the last of that series. Like Wing Commander became Star Lancer, then Star Lancer became Freelancer, and it is fantastic. You'll have to get yourself something like this. I'm going to show on screen, but you guys aren't going to know this. But look, you'll need yourself a flight stick, which I have. If anyone who's listening on audio only, go and check out the Cyborg Evo. This was from about 2003, this joystick.
Wow.
And it's a beast. So you need something like that to play those games.
Oh,
Because then you feel like you're in the cockpit of a fighter pilot spaceship. So it's very, very cool. But yeah, I think anyone who's got a games room, you should get yourself a gaming PC to have in there, because I think the PC library of games is just epic. You know, people always say, "Oh, the PS2's got a big library," or the SNES has got a big library. Well, I can dwarf all of your libraries with a PC library that is 20, 30 years old at this point, and still going and has unique games that no one else has ever seen. So it is a gigantic library of games. There's loads of great classics on there. So yes.
The thing is, I mean, when it comes down to PC, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me, because why pay out all that money for a PS5 or an Xbox Series X when you could build a PC? Like, and you could do so much more with that. That's the thing. It was just a no-brainer for me.
And I think that question is even more prevalent now when a PS5 Pro is costing you £1,000.
Oh yeah,
with a disc drive and all the rest of it. If you're talking £1,000, I think you're crazy if you don't go out and buy a PC and instead get a PS5 Pro. Honestly, there's nothing that PS5 Pro can do that a decent PC can't do. And if you spend the same amount of money, you're going to get so much more value, because then again, it's not also just a console. It does a whole bunch of other things. A PC is pretty much endless in what it can do.
you'd be working for NASA if you spend $1,000 on a PC. You know what I mean? You'd be like, "Yeah, that's fine. We'll bring that plane in. Yeah, no worries."
Yeah. So maybe consoles are maybe again, strap a keyboard and mouse to it, and maybe that's a PC, right? So
Well, to be fair, most kids these days practically do that anyway. When they're playing Fortnite, they've all got keyboards and mouses hooked up to them. So they're practically doing that anyway. So just get a PC.
Yes. Yes, right. We've been going for quite some time, and I wanted to sort of bring us on to our sort of last sort of topic, really, which was us talking about plans, hopes. I don't even mind if you talk about a bit of what you're excited for Christmas, maybe if you've got anything on your Christmas wish with Santa, but then also, what are your hopes and aspirations for 2025? Chef, I come to you first. What's Christmas look like for you, and what are your plans for 2025?
Well, Christmas was meant to be me cooking in my house, but we decided to move house, so I'll be cooking at my parents' house instead. So yeah, Christmas. Yeah, it's always reminiscing. Like we were talking last night, we were sitting here watching the darts, which is something we all do as a well, I say all of us, but majority of us as a family watch the darts over Christmas because I love darts. We were talking about toys. Like my youngest is always asking me, bless her, she's so involved in my youth as a child, because my parents they're so good to my kids, same as my in-laws, but they're so giving that when I was a kid, we had Boulder Hill. and I had the sewer from Turtle, like all the toys. So I had all of them stuff like as a kid. So they always asked me, "Oh, Daddy, what did you get? Or would what did you want?" And I think this year, I'm not looking for anything personally as a gift. I mean, I'm just happy to give to my family, which sounds so weepy. I'm sorry, but I just want to, this year it's been a real busy year. Obviously my wife's been super busy, my kids are super busy, so I just want to make sure they're all happy with what they get, and I'm happy with what I've got. I'm happy in my own skin, and that I'm going to be very busy Christmas Day cooking. Um, but yeah, it's been a mad year, guys. I've let down a few peeps with bits and pieces and stuff which I want to rectify next year, and I just want to have a better year next year. Get on top of everything. Get back onto the tubes. Get back with meeting everyone in the tubes who I call friends and family. Get the games room built. Get back on. Just get back into the groove of stuff and just play more games, because I've been playing games the last few days because I'm off. Finished day's gone. I'm on Cyberpunk. I've got it in front of me now. I'm looking at the TV. Just going back over older games that now got PS5 updates and stuff. We spoke about this before on the other podcast, and yeah, just reflecting on a year. Next year, just try and hit it harder and bigger and better on every forefront. And that's about it, really, mate. And enjoying doing these with you guys. Two of my good friends who I love spending time with when it comes to doing these things, especially with Lee. I've done so much with Lee over the last couple of years. It's like I'm surprised. Well, I know he is sick of me sometimes, but it's just been great. And obviously for you, Martin, as well. You've become a good friend as well, and it's good that we're on these journeys together. And I'm just looking forward to it, mate. I'll be honest with you. Next year, I'm looking forward to it on all aspects. Whether we're going to events, whether we're meeting up, whether we're gaming together, whether we're streaming together, just everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, I echo what you said there, Chef. I think we get to a point where, with my family, I'm not expecting any. I don't ask for anything because, let's be frank, we're in a position where if I wanted a video game, I've probably gone out and bought it. I've probably, I'm not going to say to my wife or my kids, "Oh, I really wanted to get me a copy of such and such," because this doesn't feel right. I'd rather get the silly socks and the, if they want to buy me a silly gift, then get me a silly gift. That's all. But I'm much happier in giving the gifts to them. So that's always nice. And I think I agree. And I come to sec, Lee, but I think the podcast, I think it's going to be really good fun. I'm really glad we've started this and it seems to be going well. So hopefully that long continues. We all can't wait for the Chef games room. Which we're all going to come and help build.
Oh yes,
I'll do lighting and networking, and Lee can do anything that's heavy.
Lee's
security. Lee's on
security. Okay, yeah. Lee's
security. Not coming in.
Yeah, you'll be providing the sausage rolls probably. So there we go. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now that sounds like a plan.
So I think it should be a community built one. I think the community's been involved, so we should do a community games room build at the Chef's house.
100%.
That sounds like a good thing to do. So yeah, no, it sounds really great. And I think we're all looking forward to maybe the return of the swap shop. I think that would be fantastic to see.
I didn't even mention that. It's my own stream.
I'm looking after your channel more than you are, mate. Don't worry.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate. Love you.
But I think without a doubt, if no one's seen it, and obviously I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've probably been over to Chef's channel. If you're not, links below. The swap shop's a great laugh. People coming on there, and even if no one buys anything or sells anything, just the camaraderie between those that come on, the chat about the games that are shown. If anything, it's a showcase of video games, right? And or even other things. People have shown artwork on there. They've shown board games. They've shown toys, and often the chat around them is just as important and interesting as the person trying to sell it potentially to someone who's watching. So it'd be really great to see all that. Lee, what about yourself?
So for me, I mean, in terms of Christmas, I mean, for me, it's never about the presents anyway. Like you said, Chef, I always enjoy seeing people open what I got them, Yeah. And like you said, Martin, I'll echo the fact that, if there's anything I wanted, I probably would have already bought it. So, when the missus said to me, "Oh, what do you want?" I was like, "Well, there's a couple of things I haven't picked up yet, but, don't kill yourself getting them, sort of thing, you know. So whatever it is, you know, we're not kids anymore, are we? Let's be honest.
Well,
But
As we
for
sit in
me-
rooms surrounded by toys, games, and video games, like, we're not kids,
that's
of course
true.
not.
If you walked in my front room, you probably would think I am. Yeah, that's true. But
hang on, I'm just about to say Lee is the massive collector of figures and toys going. I'm just trying to work out what's going on here.
this is true. Comics, yeah, everything. So no,
we-
but on a serious note, for me, it's always about the people, right? And family, friends. And I mean, for example, if we're still going edge, I'm meant to be meeting up with you after this, aren't I, Martin? Because I've got a couple of bits to drop round to you. And I've still got a few bits here for you, Chef, for when you come over. But
Yeah, bruv.
in terms of next year, I mean, the most important things for me is that we're all fit and healthy. You know, I've had a
Yep.
pretty good year this year. Last year was horrendous. This year's been good, so hopefully that continues, with the exception of food poisoning, but we won't go into that. Thanks, Sainsbury's. So,
There are other supermarkets available.
Yes.
We're not on the BBC,
yeah,
are
but
we?
they probably don't give you food poisoning though. But anyway, moving on. Yeah. The other thing is obviously, you know, meeting up with you two and getting to some events as well. Because I mean, me and Martin already spoke about possibly trying to make one of the big toy events if we can. It'd be great if you could come along with us, Chef. So,
Why not?
and
Let's make
obviously,
it happen.
yeah, and obviously, like Martin's saying about this board gaming one, this one's got me, this has got me intrigued, because if they might have that game I've been looking for ages, then I might have to attend that. But the other thing is, you know, we sort of fell off a bit with No Late Fees, the movie stream we do. I think we need to at some point get back to that.
Yep.
You know, starting putting that out again on a regular. But you know, we've all been busy and had other things going on, haven't we? So sometimes real life takes over, right? So
Definitely.
yeah, I'm just looking for I know a year where, you know, good friendships, we can meet up with each other, we're all fit and healthy, you know, and everyone's in a good place. That's all I really hope for, really, if I'm honest.
Nice. Go on, Lee. Like he's about to say, Chef, you're about to say something.
I was just about to say, along with a few more glow in the dark figures for Lee after the Undertaker one the other day. A few more glow in the dark figures.
I don't know what you mean. Right?
Sorry.
I'm not obsessed with glow in the dark stuff at all. It's not like you can see my place from space.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need electricity now. Your house just glows permanently. So is it radiation or is it glow in the dark toys? Who knows? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I say, I think my own Christmas is always very much family orientated. My wife is very close to her family, and we'll be spending most of the days doing something with members of the family. So it's always nice. My sort of plans for next year, really, I want to play more of what I already own. So I'm going to probably spend next year not acquiring new things and actually looking at what I've got. I joked to you guys and others the other day, I've got over 1,000. I've got 1,100 games in Steam, for instance. I've got a room full of games in here and systems. And then when we talk about board games, there must be 50 board games in here, maybe more than that. And then war games on top. I mean, rule books, I have just a whole shelf of rule books, and there must be 25 different games in just rule books.
Wow.
So I've painted a lot of figures over my years. I've collected a lot of great games, both video games and tabletop games. And now's the time to sort of enjoy them really and play them more. And actually, I quite enjoyed filming the Let's Play for the Last of Us board game. So maybe people will be more interested to see more Let's Plays of things and more reviews of those games. Even the live streams of stuff. I much more enjoy live streaming than I do doing your traditional YouTube content. So I think I'll be focusing much more on the live streams. Obviously, I've got episode 100 of the Monday Night Retro to come, and then I'm going to reflect on what's the future of that look like. You know, do I just do episode 101 and go again, or actually do I take a moment to do something differently? So, and if I do, is it wider than just retro games? Is it all of my games, you know, that we just take time out? So there's a whole bunch of things I think I'm going to reflect on. But definitely the thing I'd like to do in 2025 is play more of what I have, because I have enough. I have enough video games and board games for anyone's lifetime, and I'm sure, in fact, I know we all do. Like we're all in that boat, right? We've all got those. Probably most of the people listening to this probably have that as well. So, why do I need to acquire more when I could probably enjoy what I have? Because there's definitely gems that I've missed, like Baldur's Gate 3. So take that for instance. I've owned that game for 4 years, and was it 4 years? 2-3 years anyway. But it was only like a moment where I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go, and it's turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time. So like, it's stuff like that. You've got stuff in your collections where until you actually plug it in, turn it on, insert the cartridge, put the disc in, press play on the game, whatever, you could be missing out on a great experience. So that's what I want to focus on is more of what we've got and play those games. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. And obviously I'm really looking forward to this. You know, this is episode 3 of our podcast, and I think it's been great so far. I've really enjoyed doing it anyway. So
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Well,
if anything, the thing we might do is increase the frequency, because to be honest, you know, we kind of plan to do this every month, and fair enough, months do come around pretty quickly, but you know what, I just enjoy doing it, so we could even maybe think about doing it more, and that's things I think we'll reflect on as a group, and also feedback from the audience. So if you're listening to this and you got this far, thank you very much, but give us your comments below on what you think might be good. What do you want to hear from us three? What sort of, you know, do you want to talk about our past and our lifetime in gaming, and our futures and our collections and reviews of things, our thoughts on things? What do you want to hear from us? That would be really helpful in us molding this show going forward, I think. But yeah, certainly more of this. I'm really enjoying it, so to keep doing more. So yeah,
I always find that this is like a highlight on my month, because the thing is, we talk a lot anyway, don't we? So and this is the thing, like, I think it was always obvious that we would have great chemistry on something like this, because we're always talking, aren't we, all the time? So I think it just was a perfect thing to do, and I always really look forward to it, because we always have a good conversation.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I would love to do this more often, because I just find it fun. It's great.
Indeed.
So,
And I think we have a good like, we're okay having a bit of banter with each other and stuff like that. That's why it works, right? No one takes anything too seriously. We just like to have a good crack at each other, and Chef enjoys being a punching bag, so it's okay that we take the mickey out of him.
it's absolutely fine. Yeah, you know, it's all good here.
Brilliant. Well, I think this brings us to the end of this episode. It's a bit of a longer one, and I hope you don't mind and you've managed to get through it all. But let us know. You know, drop a comment if you managed to get to the end of it. It'd be much appreciated. Anything you can do, the likes, the shares, the feedbacks, the 5-star ratings on Spotify, wherever it is you're listening to this, and whatever the system is on your iTunes. I don't know what it is, but wherever you can click buttons, and that would be really much appreciated by all of us. This is episode 3. It's our sort of Christmas one. We'll definitely be back in sort of mid-January, I reckon, or towards the end of January, but hopefully mid-January, I reckon we'll do another one. Yeah, we'll be able to talk about even more things we got up to over our Christmas period, and our plans and futures and things like that. So yeah, just leaves me to say thank you, Chef. Thank you, Lee. Any last words from either of you?
I've got one. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Nice.
Oh.
That's it. We won't get monetized on this video now. Thanks, Lee. That's the copyright claim straight in there. That sounded exactly like the real thing. So, you know, there you go.
Uncanny.
Uncanny.
I could have done my Bublé voice, though. Merry Christmas. No, I can't.
Brilliant. Look, thanks everybody. Have a fantastic Christmas holiday, however you celebrate, or take some time out for yourselves. Give yourselves a pat on the back. You've probably had a brilliant 2024. You've done some good stuff, and enjoy the new year, and we will see you in 2025. Thanks so much. Cheers all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.